Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
got
are.
it. Okay, we got it now.
Awesome. So again, welcome one more time for our last session of this course. Again, let me tell you that I have been enjoying this past weeks with you, and because every time that we do or I try to teach, I learn more as well. So for me, it has been a blessing, and thank you so much for your patience again last week with the internet that wasn't that good.
Yeah.
But here we are. We are going to start our final session today. It's going to be a short class because the final session is big celebration and feast. That are many, but we are going to focus on the main ones in our Latino communities there in North Carolina. So let us start here. So in the fifth session, we are going to see the big celebrations that we have. Virgen de Guadalupe, St. Jude, Christmas, Holy Week, Sacraments and Sacramentals, and the Latino Heritage Month. Again, if you have any question, please let me know. So Virgen de Guadalupe. I know that seems a little bit sometimes strange or that it does not align with our core belief, but it does if we look deep into this celebration and this feast in our Latino community. And you know, the story of the Virgin of Guadalupe is very rich. As you may know a little bit, the Virgin appeared to a indigenous person, Juan Diego, according to the story. And Juan Diego saw the Virgin appear in the mountain, but he was trying to avoid many times to walk by this little hill where the basilica is built nowadays. So Juan Diego passed one, and the Virgin talked to him according to the story, or yes, according to the story, and the Virgin tell a few things to him that were very, at least for me, is important. The first one, the Virgin asked him to go and tell to the bishop that she want a church built up on the hill, and um, and And Juan Diego said to the lady, because he didn't call her as first the Virgin, he called her my little one, my child, and later the Mother of God. So when she sent him to talk to the bishop, one thing he said to her was, "Why are you picking me? What are you choosing me to go and deliver this message? I'm a poor person. I'm not a person that is high in the society status. You should pick a priest. You should pick one of the conquistadores that came here to deliver this message. Why you are sending me?" And according to the story, Maria said to him, "Because I got pick or choose those who are lowly in society, those who doesn't count in society, to do his work." So and it aligns with the Magnificat chant or Magnificat reading that we have in the second chapter of Luke. And Juan Diego heard that and said, "Okay, I'm gonna go," but he didn't wait. He didn't go. Sorry, he didn't go. And so another time he was passing by, and the Virgin appeared again, and he went and talked to her. And one of the things that she said to him was, "Don't be afraid. Do not fear." Again, the Magnificat. And Juan Diego was, strengthened by that message and went and talked to the bishop. And one of the things that Juan Diego said as well in these little dialogues with the Virgin was, "I do not speak the language. I do not speak the language because in the apparitions or the appearance of Mary wasn't talking to him in Spanish. Mary was talking to him in Nahuatl. That is the local indigenous language in that region. And he said to her, I didn't speak the language well. What are you sending me? You have to pick another one. That again, that's strongly because God speaks in our language, in our context, in our culture, as God always does. So, uh, and that's a very brief story about the appearances of Mary in Tepeyac. But I will invite you to read if you can find. There is a book called La Virgen de Guadalupe by Virgilio Eliosondo. He was a Catholic priest, and he has these deep roots in culture and experience with people day by day. And that book it expresses as well a lot of things, historical things that can help us to understand a little bit better this symbolism of the Virgin Mary. So, for theologically talking, Mary is the symbol of the oppressed, of the lowly. And in the liberation theology, that is a theology that was developed in Latin America, the figure of Mary aligns very well with the Latino culture of the oppressed. That is not just staying there like nothing is happening and suffering everything that is being put in the life of the people. No, Mary is like, yes, I am the lowly. I identify with the people, with this culture, with this context, but we are gonna fight back because we deserve to live better. We deserve what is right, what is just to us, and not just this um, group of people that are in the high of the society. We deserve to live better. We deserve to be taken in account in society. So, in most of the appearances of the Virgin Mary across Latin America, you won't see a white Virgin Mary at all. The different appearances or apariciones, as we say in Spanish, in every country in Latin America, the Virgin is presented, dressed, and in the color of the people of that country or in that context. So the again, the theological meaning in the roots very deep is the liberation of the oppressed, the liberation of God's people that need to be brought into society and be a part of the society without any distinction, without any, discrimination at all. And that's most of the theological understanding as well. And it's an icon of hope as well. And it's an icon of, as I was saying in one of our earlier sessions, is this sense that we have as well of motherhood. We are a very matriarchal culture. Everything develops across our moms. We live with our parents, but mom is a very central figure in our lives. And having the figure of the Virgin Mary is like God's tenderness, God's care towards us, and God's presence in every day. And one of the things that, as well, before I forget it, is Mary is not put in a high place. Like you cannot reach to her. The way that Mary is presented in the Latino community is like the one who walks with us as well as God does, but it's not different than us. It's very, very equal than us. That's why she is presented in these different ways or cultures across the Latin America. And the Virgin Mary as well, the figure of the Virgin Mary has been taken by womanist and feminist readings, and in the feminist theology in our church and in many churches as well. Any questions so far here? Okay, can move on. So December the 12th, as you know, is the feast of the Virgin of Guadalupe. And in our communities, as you have experienced already with EVP, there is a lot of things going on the same day. There are dances, there are mariachis, there are bandas, there is food, tons of food. And there is this fellowship and camaraderie among us that make us feel a family. That's why in every one of our community, Holy Innocents, CBP, CBC, La Guadalupana, this feast is one of the most important during the year. And as you remember from the videos last week from our communities, every one of them were saying which one was the most beautiful celebration for them, and most of them said La Virgen de Guadalupe. So it's a very important feast for our Latino communities there. And we always do more. For example, at CBC, the Day of the Virgin of Guadalupe, there were some baptisms, sometimes there are first communions. And because we try to make of that big celebration, let's say like a Christological event among us, that celebrates God's salvation, God's presence, and God that is always walking with us and being with us in our daily life. Other big celebration that we have in our communities is San Jude. San Jude, one of the apostles, as you know. It translates for the Latino communities like a way of life, a lifestyle, if we want, but in the spiritual way. So San Jude is represented like the one as well as the Virgin Mary, who work with the oppressed, with the poor, with the sick, even though they have legal problems. And it's a very important figure in the Latino community. One of the things that is very important for the Latino community is the same, San Jude is the same for the workers. So if somebody is looking for work, if somebody is having trouble in work, if somebody doesn't have a formal job, people try to somehow honor the figure of this saint, living his life and asking God to get what they need in life about job. And it's a very, very nice celebration. It's celebrated 28th of October. 28th of October is celebrated in our communities. And again, it's a saint that is celebrated most because this part of the job to have or to get a job that aligns and that can allow people to make their living, their daily living, and they have what they need for them and for their families in the States and out of the States. As you know, many of our Latino families there have their families back in home. So they send money to them, and they send whatever they need as well. So the importance of have a job to provide to the family, the family that is living with them and living out of the country. Christmas is another important celebration in our Latino communities. One of the things that is very is celebrated in the Mexican culture is the posadas. The inn is celebrated mainly in Mexico and in Central America. And it portrays Mary and Joseph searching for shelter in Christmas Eve. So people go door by door in the celebration, asking for shelter, carrying the figurines of Mary and Joseph, and asking for somebody to let them in. And is a beautiful representation, trying to represent what Mary and Joseph went through before Jesus was born, and it's full of joy. The music, the festivity, the piñatas that are at the end of each posada is just beautiful. We have the Noche Buena that is Christmas Eve. And that's gonna sound weird, but it's even more important than Christmas Day. For us, is getting ready for the Misa de Medianoche or Midnight Mass. Is gather our family and dress up very nicely and perfume and everything. Everyone put on the best clothes that we have, and we go to the Mass to celebrate the birth of Jesus. It's just a joy. And the next day for Christmas Day, what we do usually in our Latino communities or in our Latino culture is sleep as much as we can because we go from the midnight until like 3, 4 a.m. opening the gift, sharing, dancing, having this family celebration together. And most of the people go, at least here in my country, sometimes we go from the midnight mass, we go to one house. We spend an hour in that house, and we go to another house, and we do this around in the community, in the neighborhood, visiting the house for after the midnight mass. There are a lot of music and dance, villancicos, Christmas carols, but in our traditional music like salsa, merengue, vallenato, bachata, all these Christmas carols in our music, in the music of the Latino community. There are like places like Puerto Rico, there are parrandas. Is a big Christmas Eve party. It's the whole night. And it's beautiful. Any questions so far here? No? I'm gonna play a video of Posadas that is gonna last 6 minutes, but it's worth it to do it. It's worth it to watch. Let me just set up
Las posadas en nuestra familia es algo muy significativo.
Let me just
Representa el
set up the subtitles. How to translate to English. And we can.
Lo que José y María hicieron en busca de un mesón. Las posadas usualmente empiezan 9 días antes de la Navidad. Las calles son decoradas con luces, faroles, hilos de heno, y los peregrinos van recorriendo las calles de casa en casa pidiendo posada hasta llegar a la casa anfitriona. Al ser admitidos en la casa empieza la gran fiesta donde grandes y chicos disfrutan del calor familiar. La cena de Nochebuena es muy tradicional. En esto se incluye el pavo, los tamales, los atoles de diferentes sabores, el ponche de fruta y los buñuelos. Otras tradiciones durante la celebración de las posadas son la letanía y la piñata. Esta celebración une a la familia en esta época tan especial del año. Las posadas en nuestra familia es algo muy...
As you could see, it's a big celebration. Colorful, full of music, and just very, very heartfelt in our communities. We in Venezuela, we don't do posadas. We do what is called a misa de gallo. That means the early mass in the day. So it's 9 days as well before Christmas, and the service starts at 5 a.m. in the morning. And every day is a group in charge of that service. Let's say the drivers, the truck drivers one day, the other day is the schools, the other days is the people that work in the how do you say that, in the county. Everything is a celebration, and every country has their own celebrations, cultural celebrations. Another thing that is very important for us is Holy Week. Holy Week is we say in Spanish, and the right translation in English would be, if we translate it literally, is the highest week of the year. Is the most important week of the year for our Latino community, because in that Holy Week, as we do as well in the States, is celebrate the last week of Jesus, in his role, saving us and doing the work of God among us. So it's a very, very heartfelt week as well, and it's based mostly because the Spaniard tradition of the Spaniards, when they came here, the conquistadores, they made a big deal of Holy Week to have the contrast with the indigenous celebrations that were going on in here as well. So they did then or show them to the indigenous people like they were in the same level, and even borrow many things or elements from the indigenous culture and incorporate them into the Christian celebrations, so that the indigenous people can feel that there was a place for them as well, and as well that there was a manifestation of God's work as well in his community. One of the things that we do the most during the Holy Week is confessions. You don't see that very often, but personal confessions. I had the opportunity there in North Carolina to go to the three more big communities that we have there, and help Father Javier, Ricardo, and Father Daniel to make confessions person to person. And it takes long, because sometimes there are 30 people that want to make confession, to do personal confession. And you hear to them the confession, and we gave them some advices in their spiritual life. So and for them that's important, because they do it once a year, the confession, the personal confession. So they try to do it every year. We do the Station of the Cross, or Via Crucis. There is the Rosary that is pray, and as well the healing mass, the healing services. The most significant days for us in the Latino community is Palm Sunday, Good Friday, and the Easter Vigil in Latin America. And I've been experiencing the US as well, that we have been getting into the culture in the US to celebrate Easter Day. Most of the time, it's not it's not that important the Easter Vigil, but the Easter day. So this last year I was at St. Luke's with EVP, the Easter Vigil, and I didn't see that many people. But Father Ricardo shared with me the picture from Easter Sunday, and I was amazed, all the people. So we are very well blended with the Anglo culture as well to celebrate Easter Sunday. Any question? No? Okay. This is a short video of Semana Santa as well that I want to play with you. Let's see here.
Aunque en todos los países de América Latina se celebra la Semana Santa.
Spanish to English.
Cada uno conmemora la muerte y resurrección de Jesús de Nazaret de una manera diferente. Sin embargo, todas las tradiciones de la Semana Santa en nuestros países están llenas de fervor, religiosidad y cultura. En Ayacucho, conocida como la ciudad de las iglesias en Perú, la Semana Santa se ha convertido en una celebración muy importante. Hay una mezcla entre las tradiciones religiosas heredadas de los españoles y de las indígenas. Es por esto que en las procesiones se ven los mercados artesanales, las corridas de toros y también los grupos musicales. En la capital del país de México, en el barrio de Iztapalapa, hay otra tradición llamada la Pasión de Cristo. Esta se basa en que la comunidad elige a un joven que hará el papel de Jesús y hace una representación de sus últimos momentos. Esta tradición se convirtió en patrimonio cultural intangible de México en el año 2012 y es uno de los festivales de Semana Santa más grandes en el mundo.
El Hijo del Hombre será entregado en manos de los hombres y le harán morir en una cruz. Y al tercer día, Él resucitará.
En Colombia, la celebración más grande ocurre en el occidente del país, en la ciudad de Popayán. En esta localidad recrean la muerte de Jesús y va acompañado junto con unos ángeles que cargan martillos y cinceles. Igualmente, Pamplona atrae a los feligreses del oriente del país. Esta población es conocida como la ciudad mitrada, por los innumerables y bien conservados templos coloniales que reciben a turistas y a colombianos.
Es que es un sentimiento de tradición. La tradición existe es por la gente. Es la gente que hace que esto exista, que esta tradición sea y que la podamos vivir y que la podamos disfrutar cada año.
Los venezolanos hacen una procesión para venerar al Nazareno de San Pablo. Es una de las tradiciones más antiguas del país y la más importante durante la Semana Santa. Todo empieza a la 1 de la madrugada, con la primera misa de las 18 a lo largo del día. Se hace una misa cada hora en la Basílica de Santa Teresa, ubicada en el centro de Caracas. Los devotos se visten con túnicas moradas y muchos caminan descalzos a la iglesia para pagar sus promesas al Nazareno o para hacer nuevas peticiones.
Semana Santa en Pamplona, del 25 de marzo al 1 de abril. A Jesucristo amamos cuando sus actitudes imitamos.
Pero en Guatemala es en la antigua Guatemala en donde se vive con mayor devoción las procesiones propias de la Semana Santa. El entorno místico del lugar y la veneración mostrada por los fieles hacen que las calles se conviertan en el escenario de una experiencia inolvidable para los seguidores y hasta los no creyentes. Esta conmemoración se caracteriza por unos enormes tapices fabricados con pétalos de flores, sobre los cuales pasa la imagen de Cristo. Esta conmemoración es considerada como una de las más bellas tradiciones de Semana Santa del mundo.
La Semana Santa no solo conjuga fervor y tradición, sino experiencias que consolidan la memoria colectiva y los valores de las familias y comunidades.
Al final de cuentas, independientemente de nuestro país de origen o creencia religiosa, es el Salvador Jesucristo quien ha motivado a cientos de miles de personas en Latinoamérica y el mundo a recordarlo y venerarlo durante Semana Santa. Sin importar la religión que profesemos, creemos que nuestro Señor Jesucristo murió, sufrió y resucitó para demostrar su amor por la raza humana.
Mujer, ¿por qué lloras? ¿A quién buscas?
Señor, si tú has llevado su cuerpo, dime dónde lo has puesto y yo lo llevaré.
María.
Raboni.
No me toques, porque aún no he subido a mi Padre. Pero ve a mis hermanos y diles, subo a mi Padre y a vuestro Padre, a mi Dios y vuestro Dios.
Questions? Okay, let's move forward. So another very important part of our traditions and spirituality is sacraments and sacramentals. Sacraments, the sacraments that we know, baptism and the Eucharist for us, and the others are sacramentals, the confirmation, the prayer for the sick, and the other sacraments or sacramentals that we celebrate in our communities. So, but for us, what is important is to celebrate every important aspect of our lives. That's why we have many things to celebrate. As you have been experiencing with CBC, we have services for the kids that are turned 3 months old. And you say, why a service to celebrate the 3-month-old kids? What is that? How's that? So in Mexico, many years ago, I think 2 centuries ago, there was a pandemic that was killing all the kids. All the kids. The kids couldn't grow more than the 3-month-old because they did die. So when the pandemic was getting to the end and the kids were getting beyond the 3 months, there was these traditions to come and give thanks to God because the kid have overpassed or have gone beyond the 3 months. And it was like a Thanksgiving Mass because the kids were alive after 3 months. And that's why we celebrate, in the Mexican culture, they celebrate the presentation of the kid after 3 months in the temple, because that manifests that they are alive, that they are with their families, and they have a future before them. We celebrate the quinceañeras as well, as you can be experiencing in EVP, in El Buen Pastor. It is when the young ladies turn 15 years old. There's a big celebration because in the Latino culture, since the past in our history, the 15 years old was the age where a young lady could be part of the family to do a lot of things. And as well, there is another story on that it was shown, the young lady was shown into society for anybody that wants to marry him, because that was the culture back in the days. But it had been changing along across the years, and it's more a celebration of life, and it's centered in the blessing of being a young lady and be in society and family and look forward for a bright future as well. Baptisms, First Communion, and confirmations are very important milestones in our community. And each one of them, as I was saying a little bit earlier, celebrate the importance of life and the milestone that has been reached. One of the things that make us celebrate and do services for everything in our life is because we have this sense of the sacredness of life that needs to be celebrated. And that's why we bless the cars, we bless the tools for work, We bless the houses. We bless everything because it's the realization that we need the blessing of God for our daily life. And the daily life is not a part or somewhere else of our Christian life. It's all blended, it's all together. That's why we celebrate every important aspect of our life in community, and we try to always have the blessing of God. That's why we bless water, we bless the candle. Is there we can see like those little things, but that make us to be very fervous and pious in our faith, and that give us a strength, and as well at the same time it gives us the sense that God is working with us. Is the sense of the sacredness and humanity is one. Is one at all. Let me see. I think this is the last one. Oh, the last one is the Latino Heritage Month that we have been celebrating at CBC in Winston-Salem for 2 years. We celebrated last year and the year before when I came on board into the diocese. It is a celebration of our Latino heritage culture. So we go to Christ's beloved community in Winston-Salem, and because it has a big space and a big yard, we bring the bouncy houses. We do food. Every community brings food, the dishes that they like the most. We put the flags, as you can see in the back. We have these how do you call it? I forgot this one there. And we dress very informally. There is Bishop Jennifer here. This is me, Father Javier, Father Daniel that is in the behind. By Daisy and Leon that were deacons, they are priests right now. Father Ricardo is here. So it's a day full of joy. We start at 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. with the closing service. And we have a yard game for the kids. We play soccer. We have a talk with the kid, with the teenager. It's a day full of joy and full of music and food. This year we are not going to celebrate it because of the immigration issues that we have been dealing with, and to show a big celebration because it's like 500 people for that celebration as well. We don't want to our people to be exposed. And in fact, last year when Father Javier was celebrating there in Winston-Salem, the Feast of St. Jude, he got a tip that because there were 500 people, that there were some people that were going to inform the police about the religious activity. That because they were bothered, maybe because of the number of people that were gathered there, because it wasn't that loud even, that loud, and I mean with the sound and everything, but they got the tip that they were going to call the police on the community. So we decided this year not to do the Hispanic Heritage Month celebration, and that each community is going to celebrate by their own in a lower scale. This are some pictures of the day. There are dances, typical dances. As you can see, people eating, sharing. We try to blend the three big communities and the more one that is Father's Liam in Henderson, and have them to share, to see with one another, know to each other, change phone numbers so that they can be in contact and see what is being done in one community, and maybe they can celebrate in another community as well. So it's a feast full of joy. And that would be almost the last slide. Latino ministry in our midst, you have been doing that, but I always recommend a community that wants to do it for the very first time, that they have a deep prayer and a deep why, because open a Latino ministry in a context where it hasn't been yet, it requires a lot of, as you have been maybe experiencing there with EVP. it brings a lot of richness, but a lot of challenges as well. Those are two different cultures that need to find the balance to live together, to celebrate together, to embrace each other, despite the differences in culture, and despite the mindset that we have. It requires a lot of grace, a lot of openness, and a lot of humbleness. For me, it's humbleness from each side, not just one side, both sides, because it's something that needs to be carried together if we want that to be successful. It's something that is just worked not from one end but from both ends, so that communities can find the right balance. And it doesn't mean that won't be problems or challenges later when the big ones are overcome, but that means that we are learning from each other every day, and what is important for somebody maybe won't be important for another one, or how we can compensate that to be in agreement among us. Because the kingdom of God, at the end of the day, looks like this big mosaic of everyone being there by God's grace. And there are some of the resources across the church that are offered to be more cultural competent, if we want to say that. When Nuevo Amanecer, that is a week in Canuga, Canuga in North Carolina. Gracias. In North Carolina. And it's a place where we gather for a week with a lot of workshops and services to know the community, the Latino communities across the country, to know what is going on, how we can approach it, how we can be part of those big, let's say, structures within the church, and how our voices can be heard as well. We have, and it's happened every 2 years. I was there in 2024. Next one is going to be 2026 next year in June, the first week of June. There is the ABCD, there is Desarrollo Comunitario. There is a community development center that helps to get a better understanding of the Latino communities. New Camino, a new vision for Latino and Hispanic Ministry as well. MC, this is the Episcopal Latino Ministry Competency course. That was the one I was telling you a few weeks ago. That is the church-wide course. It is pretty general. It lasts a week, and it's done in the Theological Seminary in Virginia or Swanee, or in the Southwest Seminary as well. It is good, but it's long, and it touches many other themes or topics that are not in this course, and that I didn't see necessary, because we are focused in our diocese, in our Latino communities there. That's why I didn't include those in here. Joseph, the only thing that I included in this course was the generational part that we saw last week. The Episcopal Theological Community, Iona, that is let's say like a seminary that teaches as well Latino competency courses and traditions and celebrations. Y the Academia Ecuménica de Liderazgo is an ecumenic school that is led mostly by the Lutherans. And we were part of that. We were very involved with the Lutherans at the very beginning, but we made our own course, that is the MC. So that would be all. Any questions? No?
We want to thank you. Wendy had to step out to go to choir practice. We want to thank you for this very educational lesson, and hope the best for you. And hope you get out of Venezuela soon.
Yes, we are trying to do that, because the political environment right now, with the truth moving out down here, it may affect our living. So we are going to leave this coming week. We are afraid because it could be, how do you call that, the coffee, and we won't be allowed to leave. So we are going to pack please keep us in your prayers, because it is like there is something that's going to happen, and actions taken in this regime down here. And if it happens being us here, we won't be able to get out. So we are going to go to Colombia next week to prevent any, not leaving the country. So keep us in your prayer.
We'll be thinking of you and praying for you. Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a blessed week.